Santa Claus, here comes Santa Claus, right down Santa Claus Lane. Vixen and Blitzen and all his reindeer.
Right, so it is the middle of November. So what is our travel expert Candace Derricks in to talk about today from lifeinpleasantville.com? The best places to see Santa around Ontario. Welcome, Candace.
Thank you. I'm one of those people that I can't wait for Halloween to be over so that we can get on with the show. I am so excited. The big show. This is it, right? This is the season. I'm here. I'm all into Christmas. So I want to talk about Santa Claus because, it's a big part of the season. And, maybe getting out and not seeing him at the mall and adding a little bit more magic into it, especially for little ones when they're seeing him. So there's some places around Ontario that are really fun for kids to get up and close with the big guy. And one of them actually is Santa's Village in Bracebridge. And most people think that's only open, during the spring, summer, early fall months. But it actually opens for a short time from December 9th, 10th, 16th, 17th, and 23rd. And so kids can go and it's called Santa Fest, and they can do some of Santa's favorite activities, gingerbread cookie decorating, visit the petting farm, marshmallow roasting, and of course, a visit with Santa. Mm-hmm. The big one is the Toronto Santa Claus Parade.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I've never been.
You've never been?
I am not from Toronto. I grew up in London, Ontario, and I live in Ottawa now. So I've actually never been. So I grew up actually watching the parade on television. And I remember being so envious of all the kids lining the streets of this huge parade. Mm-hmm. So I have to say, if you live in Toronto, get out to see it.
Oh, it's great. My sister-in-law was very clever. She'd always find a place on the route, usually on Bloor Street, somewhere that had a balcony. And she'd either rent the room or one with a
something.
restaurant.
So there was a bathroom because I have been in the situation where you get there hours before and you're waiting for the big guy, and then you've got two little ones going, Mom, I have to go to the bathroom.
And no doubt bundled up really tight
well, of
too
course
with all
they're
their clothes.
Bundled up.
Right?
And you've got eight rows to get through, and you're never getting back in time to see Santa Claus.
Yeah, I think probably it takes a bit of strategic planning.
It
I'm
does.
Sure.
This is something you need to plan. Yeah.
And so this year it is Sunday, November 19th, the Santa Claus Parade.
Sunday.
Yeah. And where I live, the Cumberland Heritage Museum Village. My kids have been to this many times, and it actually is a little village that represents life during the 1920s and 30s. And so kids can go and get a little bit of history rolled into their visit with Santa. They can go on a horse-drawn carriage ride, decorate cookies, sip on some hot chocolate, and before they get their time with Santa. Mm-hmm. Another one that's really interesting to me is in Smiths Falls. Are you familiar? That's Eastern Ontario.
Yep.
They have the North Pole Express. So every year, the Railway Museum of Eastern Ontario hosts the North Pole Express. This year, it departs on December 2nd and 3rd. So if you want tickets, I suggest you get them quickly. They will sell out fast. And one of the boxcars this year is being transformed into Santa's workshop.
Ooh.
So kids actually get to go and build a toy of their own while they're there. Another one is the Hockley Valley Brunch with Santa. Hockley Valley is just north of Brampton. And this one, I like brunches. I remember doing this as a kid. I think my parents really love them too because then they didn't have to feed anybody for the rest of the day. But they get all the kids in, and they have the selfies with Santa contest that they have running this year, a coloring contest. And then where I grew up in London, Ontario, Fanshawe Pioneer Village. And of course, this is a nice little way to roll in some history for the kids as well. And they have a pancake breakfast, gingerbread decorating, and a wagon ride through the village before you get to meet with Santa.
Candace, how old are your children now?
Mine are 13 and 15.
So what are you going to do? Because I'm thinking teenagers don't really want to go and sit on Santa's knee
My
anymore.
kids, my father, now I'm 48. Okay, my dad has never admitted to me that there isn't a Santa Claus.
Well, no, I've never admitted it either.
If you don't believe,
so that's me, right?
That's what I say to my kids. If you don't believe in
it.
Santa, then I don't know what's going to
There's
happen,
nothing
whether
I can
you'll
do
get
for you.
anything.
So my kids have been on this, I went through this with my dad too as a teenager. I'm trying to get him to admit. My kids are doing that to me now. And I'm like, no, there's a Santa. I don't know what you're talking about. So, it makes the season fun.
It's also like with the Tooth Fairy. You never admit that there's no Tooth Fairy.
Our Tooth Fairy was a jerk. Like always late with money. Like just our tooth fairy was awful. We just got the worst one. I hear some people have better ones, but our tooth fairy was like really a jerk.
Now the other thing, Candace, too, is every small town has their own
They
Santa
do,
Claus
and go
parade.
look
And
at them. Yeah.
If you can't make it to any of the ones that you've mentioned, if you don't
Yeah.
happen to live nearby, check out the small town near you, and
Yeah.
they'll have something.
Absolutely. And I just want to mention one last one is that's a Chateau Laurier in Ottawa. It actually has tea with Santa.
Oh, I might go to that.
And it's in Zoe's Lounge. Have you ever been?
No.
Zoe's Lounge is beautiful, and it's just being refurbished right now, and it's so pretty. So I would highly recommend that one in Ottawa because it actually becomes a nice family tradition that families do year after year.
That sounds amazing.
I'm up for afternoon
Yeah.
tea anywhere.
Yeah.
Especially
Even
with
Ottawa.
Santa.
I actually have a lot more listed than just what we've talked about today on Life in Pleasantville.
Yeah.
And people can go find the whole list there. And I've asked people to actually give me events they know about. I'll add it to the list.
Okay, well, we're going to check that out because you never know.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. This is What She Said, and we'll be right back, and you'll be back in a few weeks.
I am.